Alrighty, one and all, welcome back to A4 Action. It's time for the Slapfest recap. That's right, Energy Slapfest just completed, but on the weekend, I found it absolutely criminal that some of these series didn't get cast, especially this one. Because up in the red, we have got Mr. Easy Marinelord himself, the go-to AoE4, it feels like right now, opening this series, this best of 5 as the English. And across the way, we have got my former slippery sausage man. I need to come up with a new name for him. My bird man, my follow bird bro. It is, of course, Corvinus 1. It's kicking off this series as the Byzantines in the blue. So basically, we've got English versus discount English. Right? Maybe. Let's find out. Interesting matchup, actually. Byzantines versus English. I've seen it a few times, and funnily enough, that whole discount statement is the other way around. Quite often, I've actually watched the English get completely slam dunked by the Byzantines. Very powerful civ, they're able to reach that late game, right? And the funny thing is, with things like the Foreign Engineering Company, you're able to match the English's power with things like Lombos in the late game. All the while having these Limitane that feel like they just never die. But we're going to have to see if we get to that stage of the game. Marinelord, he'll understand that that is a threat, right? Byzantines right now are quite the topical element of AoE4 with how powerful the late game is. I imagine that Marinelord is going to be playing for a very fast finish to this. And you know what? Corvinus is already aware that type of pressure could be coming. That's why he's starting on the berries here. They're on the ford. Either gold or berries, either thing. If there's gold, you usually outpost it up. If the berries, you just exhaust them first to try and get what you can here. Marinelord is trying to get towards that council as quickly as possible. Something to keep in mind in this matchup, by the way. Hippodrome makes a lot of sense here on this map, in this matchup. Hippodrome is phenomenal because quite often on this map, you feel quite exposed. Cliffside isn't that easily defendable, even compared to a normal Dry Arabia. And those first few horsemen don't have to go far to strike. So, boom, already on the way. But that whole don't have to go far to strike strikes both ways, right? For the horsemen, it means that they can raid but then arrive in the fights. The flip side is you're against Lombos. These Lombos that are usually quite awkward to find effectivity for in the first few because they take so long to arrive, only half the distance of Dry Arabia. So there's going to be an opportunity to dent Corvinus. Fortunately for Corvinus, I actually think he got a very good spawn here. Fat wood line on the left, on the right side, small wood line on the left side that could easily be wallable, and then you just got this funnel in the center covered by the TC. So diving the primary should be hard. Corvinus, meanwhile, has been rushing these berries. Looks like he has been quick enough about it as well, right? 7 villages out here guarantees he'll have enough olive oil for the first Lombo contract, if that's the way he wants to go, before the Lombos arrive to shut him out. I'm expecting a Keshik 1-2 tap. Preferably, I'd love to see Javelins. I think Javelins is actually the winning composition here. One thing that is a bit negative about this spawn for Corv, despite the woodlines being positive, is this second berry. This second berry preferably could have been back here. That would have given access to 3, 4, maybe 5 pumps of mercs. Instead, he's only going to be able to get 1 here. So tech up's complete. Let's slow this down now. Lombo's on the way. Rack's already being added in. He did scout that he's up against the Hippodrome. The first horsemen are hitting the field. And yes, there are 2 safe golds, but honestly, I don't think you can fast castle here as the Byzantines. I don't think it would be great, right? Like, the Lombos could wrap and catch you out pretty easily as you tech up. I think you need to kind of fill some aggression, get a few horsemen out that force Marinelord back to his base, and then when he's guarding his own area, that's when you look for the tech play. One good thing about having that gold, though, for a long feudal, Blacksmiths is critical in this matchup. I think that's actually been one of the biggest areas for improvement I've seen out of Byzantine players is for quite a while. A lot of them were just neglecting Blacksmiths and losing match after matchup because of it. But this is a critical one. Like, it's going to matter either way, right? Considering you got Lombo and Lombo, the Steel Arrow is going to be the game breaker. Interesting. Marinelord, he doesn't want to be the one to move first, right? Because he feels like if he goes in, these horsemen can just wrap around and poke out his eco. And you have to remember these Triumph charges have been ticking up, right? So it'll be a long time of just camping under a TC with the undermesh, with the protection there. Well, speaking of that Triumph, it does get activated to deal with the villager. He tries to go in, does get it just in time. The A-clicks did look like they switched over for a second there. It's a great strike there by Corvinus, delays the outpost going up, and does get a villager kill for it. No Expilatores, so those kills aren't insanely quick. Typically, Expilatores at about 5 or 6 horsemen or less is not about the ability to kill villagers, it's about the ability to get paid. Once you get up to like 10 or 11, that's when Exploratores makes a lot of sense for the damage increase. Because that's the stage where, with that scale of numbers, an extra +2 does become quite noticeable. So good question. Isn't it better to go Jaffros instead of Lombos? Yes, no. So part of the problem is long-term olive oil access means that like you can't get enough jabs to feel that strong. The other issue you have is if you go for jabs, you're much weaker in the late game. Going for Lombos, although it might not be quite as good as jabs in the early phase in this matchup, it's much better later on in the game. 2 villages down so far for Lord, already trailing. This is looking a bit ugly here. So yeah, the whole reason why you want Lombos here is so that in the late game, you can get your hands on the engineering company, and that will give you access to volley. On top of that, having the ability to pump Limitane means that if this turns into a spear versus Lombo matchup on both sides, funnily enough, the Byzantines destroy the English. And yes, Streltsy late game aren't good against English, but you know what, Gully? You don't build them. You literally don't build them. That's the funny thing. Remember, the nerfs on the Western contract were targeted at exactly that. It just doesn't matter because you never go for it. Horseman raid in. Triumph has been activated. Lombos are trying to trade out with the back line here. Marinelord forced back, though. Corvinus. Things are looking better and better. Military count is about even. I think that was a reasonably good trade. And remember, behind this, he has been adding in the systems, right? Up to level 2 already. I imagine we'd be heading for a third eventually. And remember, at this stage, like, although you've got Marinelord adding in farms, it gives him that 20% gathered buff rate. At the same time, on the other side of this, Corvinus is already getting a 14% increase to everyone in his economy. I think this is a bit early, Corv. He's macroing for Castle Age. Yeah, I don't like the Castle Age play here. This is way too early. Like, you took a good fight. You need to do that one more time. One more time and then it makes sense. But, like, just blindly rushing this right now on such a short map against a player that's scaling into Lombos and has dropped the Blacksmiths. This is pretty much a standard timing, right, for the English. Around here, you're looking for the Blacksmiths by 10 minutes at the latest. Corvinus should know that, right? That's not like that's a new recipe for the English. That's been the way they've operated for a long time. So knowing that, to choose to go for a tech up instead of getting undermesh, instead of getting more troops, could be his undoing here. Now, Lombos would have to wrap around the backside, but the timing on this could be dire. Marinelord, you're seeing the hesitation, right? He doesn't have a scout, so he's going for what are you? Is that legal? I mean, Corvinus, if you want to lose the game, you can just type GG and leave. You don't have to. Oh god. Well, they did buff it. I think Corvinus has been watching a few too many soldier replays. Is he about to do the Cataphract Triumph build? Oh my god, he is, isn't he? But System of the First Hill got buffed! No, please don't make... I'll mute you, don't. Oh no! The Castle Age was already questionable enough. This has me incredibly worried. Tech up completes. Marinelord, he's about... Honestly, I wish we had a camera on him to see him laughing as he sees this. Probably more like a... And yeah, I think he has like 3 sheep left. Okay, he's got 7 hidden in there. So that's not too bad. Lombos, though, get some freebies. Also, another thing, guys, you kind of need gold for Cadders. He hasn't got much. He's got enough to pump 1 or 2, but remember, all of his gold is on the backside. Oh, God. He just immediately makes it a worthless system. I love that he done that. How many people would sit here trying to burn down this system in the first hill? Be honest, one's in chat if you tried to kill the system in the first hill. Because you'd be like, yes, you must kill the system. No. Just kill the 600 HP connector. He's rotating now. The food drying up fast. Corvinus makes a move out, and the Lombo was waiting. Oh, dear. Sorry, did someone say they didn't build Grand Winery? I know what that means. You know what the best part is? Corvinus had the ability to get wheelbarrow this entire game. Archers, meanwhile, try to trade in, but just a few Lombos will be here to defend. That's fine. He's looking for bigger damage on the other side. More villagers go down here. Oh man, Corvinus. If he just built a few more cav units before doing this, it would have made a lot of sense. Instead, he's stuck waiting for cataphracts. First one dives into the enemy base. However, the TC garrison with no undermesh. Are you kidding me right now? No, I'm killing you right now. I mean, this strategy is ambitious to say the least, but even more so when you consider the fact that Corvinus done it naked with no undermesh against the English. It's like you're begging for death here. And folks, that was with Triumph, right? Yeah, didn't really impress. Lombos. No. Oh. Well, I bet you wish you had Wheelbarrow now. I mean, look at the damage this does against even the cataphracts. Lombos, I'm going to trade out. Archers have not been upgraded, by the way. That's just feudal and feudal. Spearmen come in now, and this is a bad fight. Trample through, but no, keep running. Don't stop. Just keep running. Oh, man, this is over. This is so over. This is more over than the table that Corvinus just flipped over. Like, I just don't know what you do here. Oh, just leave. No, get out of here. I'd say take those villages and walk off the map, but I think they'll be dead before they reach the edge. No Wheelbarrow. With almost every single one of his eco units running around his base. Oh my goodness. Hey guys, no. Corvinus doesn't have 2 army. He has 2 cataphracts, system to the first, heal up. Okay, yeah, it's good GG. Good game 2. Oh, that. I just don't think we talk about that. That, ladies and gents, is why you do not build system to the first hill. You know, like, I wanted to go into a little bit about, like, oh yeah, but, you know, system to the first hill has been buffed. But you may have noticed I didn't bother in that game. And it's because, similar to when I read those patch notes, it's irrelevant. The updates, the upgrades done nothing for that landmark. It still is easily one of, if not the worst landmark that you have the option of getting as the Byzantines. Actually, no. Without failure, it is the worst option you have as the Byzantines. Corvinus, I don't know, man. Maybe this could have fared better if he took another fight first. I think the Castle Age being so early was a bigger issue, funnily enough, than the system in the first hill itself. I think the system in the first hill was just not an ideal choice, but it probably would have had a better chance of success if he doubled down on his early win in those skirmishes and went for one more fight. Marinelord just had the right timing, right? Around 10 minutes with Steel Arrow coming in, with Lombo massing up. Worst possible time for Corvinus. Not to mention the food not being secured in advance. The double back gold spawn may have also baited him towards cataphracts. Whatever it was, I don't want to think about it any longer because it hurts to even think that someone wants to try system the first hill. Relic, please buff that landmark and please get us into game number 2. It's going to be white flags all around, but it's going to be white flags waving for Corvinus again. Hopefully not. He's got something, I'd say, is usually a bit more creative for him, a little bit more cozy. We hop into the second game of this best of 5 between Marinelord and Corvinus has got his hands on Nippon. Japanese pick coming in. One of the few players I've seen actually experimenting with Yumi, but I wonder if he's going to attempt it here up against the beefcake that is Jeanne D'Arc in the hands of Marinelord himself. All right, we are on Frizzy Marshes. First things first, move your ass out to the fish. Now, I'm kidding. It's kind of weird, actually. Japan doesn't really benefit that much from Frizzy Marshes, right? Like, the issue is that if you're going to fish as Japanese, you want it to be fishing boats. Unfortunately, if you try to drop any sort of dock here, you're going to have a bad day. So, funnily enough, the player who's more likely to go fishing here is going to be Marinelord. Admittedly, because he picked Jean instead of French, he doesn't get the advantage of the cheap mills. I think that actually in most situations right now, Jeanne D'Arc feels better than French, even with 2 TC builds. But this might be the one map where I'd say it's the other way around. French feels better because of the amount of mills you can spam down on these ponds. Opening-wise, it's just going to be 1 scout from each side here, surprisingly enough. So looks like it's going to be 17 sheep already from Marinelord, meanwhile 15 for Corvinus. Remember, because Annie kind of had a fetish about sheep, there's quite a lot of them spawning in Frizzy Marshes. So I'm not expecting either player to exhaust themselves too quickly. The question mark in my mind is whether Corvinus is going to try to do his cheeky outpost shenanigan. If you haven't seen it, Corvinus has discovered quite an optimal build for the Japanese for early aggro. It involves fast feudal into archery range, and then you rush an outpost. The reason that's very efficient is that the Yumi archers are decent units on their own to raid in small numbers, but they are actually more efficient garrisoning units than spearmen. They only cost 65 resources. This matchup, it could be a bit risky though, right? Jeanne D'Arc is definitely going to be slow on her tech timing because you're going to have Jeanne on her own building that landmark typically, but it's also going to be risky if you miss your timing at all and that tech up does complete. Woman at Arms is going to be there to cleave you down, Yumi and Villager alike, and on top of that, you're going to be up against Knights. Now, one thing that does have me a little bit scared for Marinelord, if Corvinus does take an aggressive approach here, these golds are right next to each other. In fact, it's the truth for both of these players. That's worrisome. Both of these players rely heavily on gold, right? Knights on one side, Samurai on the other. Looks like it's going to be Curacao House and no aggro play. I'm not too surprised by this. Sometimes there is an opportunity against Jeanne D'Arc, more so than French, because with French players, they always build their School of Cavalry right next to the TC. Jeanne players, similar to how Marinelord's done here, tend to be 1 or 2 tiles loose. In fact, that's a big part of why Marinelord pulled back like this. For a start, he knows his tech time is going to be slower than the Japanese. For another, if he built the School of Cavalry here, and Corvinus has decided for some reason to go for Shinobi, it just feels like a GG. You can't build Knights at all. So let's speed this up a bit so we can get to that age 2. Not much really happening in the interim. Outpost is going up from Corvinus. Doesn't guarantee that this is going to be a cast stage rush, but now with the way this has opened up, it does make the most sense. It's a very defendable location if you short wall across to the outpost. Double outpost guarantees it's a fast castle build. Curious to see how Marinelord's going to respond to this. He already has this info. You could just try to go for a ram, blunt this entire setup. It's pretty effective. Knights scale very well into what the Japanese do at the beginning of Castle Age. If this is a Yumi into Onimusha play, I'm a very big fan because I think actually pretty much everything that Jeanne D'Arc wants to build gets countered by Onimusha, at least at the beginning of Castle Age. So, gathering beginning. One thing that is annoying about trying to go to Onimusha, I think they do rely quite a bit on the bannerman. And the downside of that is that whenever you go double outpost like this, your stone you're getting from your gold drop-off isn't going to go into a daimyo. It's going to go into arrow slits and fortifications. So, M-Lord. Here we go. Second TC. Like this approach. Jeanne has already moved out to hunt the boar, and she's going to be an annoyance here. He actually went for Hunter Jeanne. I love this. Think about what Corvinus has done here. He's basically playing the same way an HRE player would, and we've seen that actually Jeanne's do a lot better when they go archer form against HRE than when they go melee form. The whole idea is you just poke and prod at this gold. You're probably not going to kill straight away, but over time, there's going to be vulnerabilities. Love that. Immediately forcing the garrison. It's funny because the idle time you achieve here stops this optimal timing for the Japanese. Looks like that shot did come out just in the nick of time there. So Diego does get the hit. Remember, these Divine Arrows do 40 damage. So basically, shoot a unit twice and then hit it with Divine Arrow, and it's an insta-kill. Second TC up. On the fishing, and dude, are you kidding me? What is it with Marinelord spawns? Like, for real. It's just... we're just going to stare at this a bit and nod our heads. I feel like I always see it with M-Lord. I mean, maybe it's just he's that good at finding the locations when he does it, but deer plus double fishing. Phenomenal here. And now, Corvinus, without any scouting vision, the only thing he can do is defend. Can't even know what he's up against next. Damage coming in on Jeanne. Marinelord's kind of being optimal about this, though. You saw that, right? He kind of starts a step back in to force more idle time, and he has the Divine Restoration if he needs it. The question is, does M-Lord want to go in for an end, or does he want to go for his own Castle Age? Why? Oh, Corvinus. Corvinus's logic is flawless. He's like, oh, I'm 1 game down, so if I win this one, it's going to equalize the series. I need a Temple of Equality for that. For God, no, I can't defend it. So this landmark, is still categorically 10 times worse than Floating Gate, because although they buffed it recently, they also buffed Floating Gate. Temple of Quality only makes sense if you have no gold access, a lot of food and wood, and want to have 30 of these monks, because you can get them to give you gold every 60 seconds. That's a long way into the game, though. That's not going to happen quickly. Like, anyone who's trying to argue the passive gold, man, like, compared to... Honestly, think about it this way, right? You have to spend 300 gold to generate 75 gold. Or, every 2 minutes from a floating gate, you can generate 75 gold a minute in a forge. Right? That's your comparison. Now, the only thing I can think here is that Corvinus was like, I'm going to be up against mass knights. This is really good, because the whole logic, the reason you want to be a Buddhist monk, why they're trying to sell them to you, is the Sohai Sutra that reduces damage of enemy units by 50%. It's like an anti-inspired warriors buff. This is very effective against things like knights, things that have high damage. In fact, the one matchup I've said that this could be decent in is Order of the Dragon, because the base damage on each of the individual units is much higher. The problem here is that Marinelord isn't building an army of knights, folks. He's building an army of horsemen. In fact, he's building plenty of pokey sticks. Horsemen and spear only. Oh my god, I can't. I can't say the devs aren't trying to make this work, but yeah, I think genuinely for me, Temple of Equality just isn't there yet. I think someone I highlighted is actually this landmark should spawn a free religious unit every minute. That's what it needs. It needs to actually spawn a Buddhist monk every minute or 2 minutes. Because you need to at least match the initial value of Castle Age from Floating Gate, right? Which is Floating Gate immediately gives you a monk for free. Instead, this just gives you pain. Moving in. Fortification comes in just in the nick of time here. So he's going to stand his ground and keep torching down, though. It's much slower, though, right? The fire armor in there. And wait, that does affect torch damage, right? Yeah, it's affecting torch damage. Are you kidding me right now? I mean, that actually kind of worked. I was just taking a giant dump on the landmark choice, but that legit kind of worked. I thought he was Abbasids for a second there. That's how much fire armor that had. Oh my god! No. This can't work. I'm not gonna lie, the circle kind of looks dope, right? It actually looks like they've just got some extra kind of winged hussar thing going on. Oh man. So Corv has got a relic now. He has held. Funnily enough, Marinelord isn't going up. He's literally just spamming more spears. What is this game? I mean, Jeanne is nowhere near leveling up. That's something we have to highlight here. It's going to take a long time. That was very creative by Corvinus, though. Like, I think that is just countered by a ram, though. If I'm not mistaken, I'd have to double-check this because I just tried to block out from my memory anything to do with Sohai. Because I'd have to be so high to actually tolerate it. I'm pretty sure Buddhist monks cannot debuff siege. So if Marinelord just builds 2 rams, this does all die. For now, though, Corvinus is holding. He is getting into the Mount Samurai. He has got gold access for the time being. However, he needs to secure the next one ASAP. He's down to 1,600 gold. There's no other gold nearby. He only has 1 relic, and he does not have the floating gate to give him the Yorishiro forges. That's why Marinelord's doubling down, folks. If you're wondering why hasn't he just macroed up for Castle Age, it's because he knows the timing on this. Moving in here. Warlord Master has 1 pump, 1 opportunity. Sutra is being cast. And there's the Warlord. So 1 outpost down. That's unfortunate. Corvinus way too greedy here. I think he was trying to get the Daimyo. This might begin to unravel. Outpost now being repaired. That relic just needs to be regarrisoned. It's literally worthless right now, Corv. God, Marinelord is literally just going to kill him with mass spears. Comes in. I mean, at this stage, even with the Sohais, I don't think Corvinus' army is big enough. He's just going to lose this. Oh, man. Dude, imagine if he just went mass samurai instead. I wonder if samurai and a few spears would have worked a lot better here. Instead, mass spears, even with the debuff of 50%. There's simply too many of them. And and too many to debuff. Corvinus lacks the gold, lacks the units. All of the monks are dead. They just got swarmed. Oh, that is it. I was starting to sweat. I was like, maybe I just don't know AoE 4. Nope, no. M-Lord keeps us honest here. Sohai Sutra will be the last song that the Japanese sing in this series. Corvinus gonna be fast at risk of elimination in this series. Outpost goes down. Gold workers get pinched. This game is over. And it could end up being the quickest one of the playoffs. Quicker series, maybe, because we've got at least one more game, one more opportunity for Corvinus to make me cry. What has he got? What can he do now? What is the most unmetary thing he could do left in this series? It has to be industry tech for the Ayyubids, right? Let's check. Did he pick Ayyubids in his final game? I'm actually legit curious. I don't know. So here's the thing. I genuinely think there is something cool about those Zen monks, but they're just not strong enough. Like, there needs to be a trickle of monks. Imagine that game if he had a little bit more gold and that allowed him to get a few more knights, for example, or a few samurai. Instead, he's pumping so much gold into just those initial monks. What was that? I think I said was it 100 gold each or 150? I always forget. Either way, it's either 400 or 600 gold. That's a lot to be investing in that debuff and not in active units that are able to fight. But one more game, one more opportunity for Corvinus to turn it around. Yeah, it was 100 gold. Thank you very much. Yeah, it's 400 gold, though. It's 400 gold. You just don't have enough units to actually defend you properly in the fight. But let's have a look. Oh, I'm a muppet. That was game number 3. All right, we've done an Uno reverse here. I don't know how I clicked on that by mistake, but let's just pretend this one's game number 3. It's the third game of this series we're watching. It's Malians versus Ayyubids. There is nothing that Corvinus can build that will be unmetary here. Oh, God, no, there's that. He could actually just build the defensive landmark, couldn't he? Okay, well, yep. I'm done guessing with this series. 2 points on the board now for Marinelord. 2 games where Corvinus has tried to be, I think the word is creative. It might just be facepalmy, though. How is he going to be creative in this one? Tournament life on the line. Corvinus turns to the Moldians to deliver him to justice. And Marinelord, see if he can justify the Ayyubids as a viable pick here. Ayyubids that got heavily nerfed. I think of the matchups, this is the one that might be the hardest for Marinelord. The other games look like an absolute breeze. Let's see what he can do. Dry Arabia, a pretty standard map. One where all civs can function. And oh my, is that a good support for Corvinus. Gets the double forward gold right next to each other. It's a negative that they're forward, but it's good that they're together. I wonder if Marinelord is going to play one of those kind of discount Abbasid style games we've been talking about before. I've seen a lot more players doing this with the Ayyubids now, where they stay long feudal and just pump units. And you might ask, okay, why not just pick Abbasids then? Well, the reality is that if you picked Abbasids, people would already anticipate and react accordingly. They have to skirt a line if you're playing Ayyubids, that you can still be going from fast castle camels, but there's also the potential that you're going to try to all in them. Let's see, is M-Lord going to do this right? I imagine we're looking at a growth wing here in this matchup. There's no point going for the military wing reinforcement up against the Malians. He disagrees. Really? I mean, I guess you can torch down the houses, and it does force your opponent to build javs. Oh my God. Well, guys, that's the Desert Raider counted. Got him. Got him. What is, like, Corvinus is in a mood today, I swear. He, like, woke up. He looked at the statistics for how often landmarks are built. He's like, I'm going to fix this. I'm going to single-handedly fix this. Every single game in this series, he has chosen an off-meta landmark. That kind of makes sense, right? You've got 2 gold veins close together. They could get raided. They could get ram rushed, remember. Ayyubids are basically Abbasids. But, I mean, this is kind of funky, right? Like, it doesn't mean that the Desert Raider play is counted. And someone's asking why you wouldn't go Desert Raiders here. It's because your opponent has guaranteed going to go Javelins, right? Like, the comp right now is Javs plus Donzos. The reason why I think Marinelord wanted to go for military wing here is because this is fast castle. This choice makes perfect sense if it is fast castle. The funny part to me, by the way, have you guys noticed what M-Lord's doing? He's actually optimizing to keep all the berries alive, even though he hasn't got growth wing. This might be fast castle growth wing, which is kind of sick. For those wondering what you get out of that, remember fast castle growth wing will basically give you access to an extra 8 villages, as well as adding on 100 food to each of these berry bushes. It's not seen very often. Typically, people wait later in the game, because if you get it in Imperial Age, you actually get your hands on an increase in gathering rate for your villages as well. But Marinelord, he's macroing up for, man. So this is why the Desert Raid is justified. Literally, the Desert Raider forces your opponent to build javs, and that means they've wasted resources on military units instead of defending. M-Lord is going to have to back away from the berries here, but he's absolutely fine with that. Food and gold is being hoarded up. Needs to be a bit quicker on the gold gathering here. Looks like the Jav will run too close to the TC there. That was lucky. Almost instantly lost his first troop. Desert Raider's going to go in for the kill. I mean, the moment he touches you, it's just death, right? Like 13 damage per strike. Second Jav has arrived, admittedly, but I think this is fine. Like, honestly, in this position, it would have been better to have built archers instead of the Javs, considering the attack speed and the cost. So it just kind of feels like a win there. M-Lord still has this free unit alive, but he's taken out 120 resources from Corv. On top of that, Corvinus isn't going to be fast on whatever he's trying to do here, because he doesn't have the Mansa to buff up his early game eco. It's just kind of worse for it right now. Is he going for Rimba? Not a single ranch. Okay, so 2 possibilities. He's either all-in feudal, or he's going for Rimba. I'm not sure I like either one. But at least the Farimba keeps him consistent with the brand. Which is perfect for my thumbnails later. What a thoughtful guy Corv is. Oh, man. I'm wondering, what do people think that Marinelord's going to go for? Eco wing, culture wing, or military wing? This feels like an eco wing game to me. I don't think you have to rush the Castle Age. You've got plenty of time. Like, Corvinus is building a slow-moving army, and he's not building it fast. Instead, Corvinus is clearly macroing up. And I think Marinelord is going to sniff this out pretty quick. Once the scout rotates around and he sees no ranches, he knows this is Farimba. That Farimba isn't going to feel quick enough here. M-Lord. Was the berry microing a bait? Was it him keeping a door open? We'll see. Sometimes people might see that it's Farimba and kind of panic and feel they need the advancement, but there you go. Jadlord on the way. 8 more villages about to be added in 2 minutes' time, plus an extra 100 food on each of these berry patches, equaling 600 more food safely in his base, not to mention the fact that there's going to be an extra 1,200 food nearby. Actually, more than that, 1,400 food nearby. That's crazy. I love this build. This is very crafty and created by Marinelord. Like, you wouldn't think that you need to do Desert Raiders against the Malians, but it's what it forced out of his opponent. Now, Corvinus, he's built the stables, he's built the racks rather, and this archery range, but he's going for Rimba. Admittedly, it does mean he's going to be able to get his upgrades, but it kind of feels like it would have been more value just to get that tech timing even quicker here. Rimba on the way, but folks, we are already 1 minute and 15 seconds away from Castle Age on the other side, so they're going to be mirrored in timing here. Of course, the stables is already prepped to start pumping out those camel lances. I don't know, man. I think Marinelord has executed this almost perfectly, I want to say. I don't think he stepped out of line in any way. And that has me a bit worried for Corvinus' plan here. I'm trying to think the last time I actually saw Farimba Rush work. Maybe it was like there was one game, I think it's like a month and a half ago on Prairie with one of the Spanish brothers where it worked. It's not very often attempted, let alone achieved here. Let's see what Corv's got in mind. Maybe he wants to flood the map with... I mean, Musafadi would feel dicey, right? You're not getting the base. Has to be just probably a double pump of Donzos in Javs and a push towards the enemy base. M-Lord already prepping for that, folks. Double archery range drop. Made that triple. Corvinus, what is it going to be? What are we shopping for in this game? has to be Donzo. Right? He saw the stables. He doesn't know about the archer ranges. This is so crafty by Marinelord. He hasn't shown any archers, anything. He built all the archer ranges at the back, and look at the vision here. Corvinus hasn't even checked the back of the base at any point in this game, let alone when this is happening. So Moss drop here, archer ranges as well, upgrades coming in, and it is going to be bad for Corv. He's got archers. He's spamming out archers when he needs jabs here. Oh, this has me very worried. Let's hit the speed up a bit. They haven't engaged just yet. I'm waiting for the first waves to come out. So it looks like it's going to be a play onto relics by both players, but that is going to favor the Ayyubids with their superior mobility. Desert Raiders, meanwhile, poking and prodding. No villager kills so far, but it's nice harassment damage, and it's all for free, remember. Hasn't paid for a single one of those units so far. In fact, if he times this right, Corv is returning. Could you imagine if those Desert Raiders got that kill? So Imam will be able to move out. But keep in mind that Marinelord's already got one, and the second Dervish on the way. And these ambulances move a lot quicker for relics. So easily looks like it should be a free relic type game for M-Lord. In fact, with this many archers, if he moves out quickly, he can guarantee it because Corvinus' army isn't good against what he's facing here. Oh man, he's just going full archers, isn't he? Yeah, this is a play into toxins. Poison arrows makes a lot of sense here, right? Like you're up against what you assume is going to be mass camel lancers as well as some desert raiders. Gives you best efficient way of killing them. While having some flexibility. But once he discovers that this is triple arch range push, I think Corvinus is going to deflate pretty fast. Only upside for him right now is he hasn't lost any eco units, but remember, because of the eco wing choice by Marinelord, he's already now 8 villages ahead. Already positioning himself to be 1 relic up compared to what Corvinus can achieve. Might be more if Corv gets greedy about this as well. And he is. Marches out towards the center here. 15 archers versus 15 plus 3 jabs. It's a good fight if Corv can get it right. Unfortunately, the Dervish is in. And immediately out of that. Nice cover fire by Marinelord. Start steps away. He doesn't want the full engagement. Has revealed his archer comp, but worthwhile with him getting the relic away like this. You can see how hard it is to chase, man. Reminder, he is carrying a relic right now, but he almost moves as quickly as the archers. So nothing Corvinus can do. He's going to have to settle for a 2-free relic split in favor of Marinelord. Oh, man. And now it's a switch into Javs. So funnily enough, Marinelord, now that he sees all those archers, I wonder if you just go into Cav. Right? Like, so far, his read has been correct. He's been 1 step ahead. I don't think you want to mass archers on their lonesome when you've got 3 relics as well. You need to throw in some gold-based units. Even Ghoulims could be pretty effective here. Good question. Is a Dervish faster than a Warrior Monk? They have the same movement speed. Farms now coming in. So Marinelord, the fact that he's going farms this early on, that he's trying to transition slowly into that, suggests that he's going to try to play condensed so he can send the whole army out. And yeah, the walls going up guarantees this. So Marinelord's goal is in the next 2 minutes to be just running out on the field without having to worry about counter raids coming in. Corvinus. I don't know, man. He's holding a lot of food and gold. There's no way this is fast imp. Shout out to Credo with the resub, by the way. Welcome back to the Swarm, buddy.
K-Pig hype, K-Pig
and speaking of swarms, I feel like you need to get a swarm here. You can't just rush up. You need to scale. It just feels like he's got too much food gathering and not enough gold, right? Because it's a Farimba build. Does need to get Military Academy to then justify the extra pump, but if he shifts some extra workers off of food, goes from the Military Academy, he could actually afford a lot more units out of this Farimba than what he currently has coming. Donzos have been queued up. So Corvinus is worried about the Cav counter. Funnily enough, Marinelord has just non-stop been pumping archers. It's funny because, like, realistically, this shouldn't work for him, right? Like, the play to just go into archers should backfire because it should be more jabs. But, like, Corvinus has blinked first, right? Logically, if you want to be logical about this, Marinelord is meant to add Cav. Either horsemen or lancers. But the fact he isn't just allows him to now come in stronger at a point where even against Javs, archers are going to trade well, right? Remember that Javs punish archers the most in Feudal Age. When you reach Castle Age, look at the armor. You get up to 5 armor. Meanwhile, these guys are going to hit for the 9 damage, right? Most of your damage is always offset in the Feudal Age. And on top of that, we're talking about the scalability of this as it goes on, right? Marinelord now adding in the second TC, it guarantees he's going to extend that eco lead. And if there's something you can get access to plenty of right now, it's wood. This is kind of rough. If Corvinus just sits back, he starts to lose this, by the way. Like, remember, he hasn't gone for Fulani. His ceiling is much lower with a Farimba play. So he needs to end the game sooner rather than later. The longer this goes on, the better it gets for M-Lord. And M-Lord, already feeling mighty cozy, remember. He's on match point. He doesn't have to feel pressured at all. Not that he would, considering the amount of experience he has in top-tier tournament games. Surface now from Corv. Hard to scale this, though. He has got the ranches in, but this is not the power of Fulani, right? So when you consider that he's adding in Javs, archers, donzos, the good news is at least it's Farimba, right? So they only cost gold. But even with that in mind, it's still 120 food per sofa. Funnily enough, these dervishes are still alive. So guess what happens when the sofas engage? All that bonus damage versus infantry is taken away by the Camelanese. Not directly, right? Because Camelanese doesn't affect bonus damages. But raw number-wise. You have 20 damage. You're losing 4 damage. Wall's going up. M-Lord just buying a little bit of time to get more army together here. Love this detail. Short wall, gate through. It means that if Corvinus overextends and tries to retreat, the horseman can wrap around ahead of them and cut them off. Love to see this. I've seen a lot more players starting to leverage this more heavily. It's just such a smart tactical play. Just gives you a layer of flexibility in fights that your opponent can't match. Especially considering how much of Corvinus' army is ranged. Sofas are going to be scattered out. Looks like we're getting some Manjaniques. And now we have to ask the critical question that will define this game. Does Corvinus have enough cavalry to kill Manjaniques? It's a decent number, right? Like, he's got 14 so far, but the issue is there's just so many units to get by. And also, the horsemen can block you. They can body block you when you try to wrap. Those horsemen aren't here right now, though. Instead, they're diving into the eco. Corvinus, quick on the reaction, but not quick enough. 2 villages are going to get picked. And he's not in a position to punish this. Instead, he peels the sofas to hunt the horsemen. I don't like this choice here. I think this is the moment to go. The longer Corv waits, the worse it gets. And now the ranch is being attempted to be assaulted. M-Lord instead, just forcing additional idle time. Like, you lose 2 horsemen for this. It's totally worth it, right? You killed 2 villages. You idled out 15 to 20 on average. You forced the entire Sofa battalion to react. You know, this is the type of moment where I think just spawning 1 extra load of Donzos from the Farimba saves you here. And then instead, you just have your Sofa, your main army, go in. Now, with that space that Marinelord's got, all of a sudden we're getting into spears in prep for the Sofas. They're going to have the phalanx. And on top of that, before they fight, I'm expecting maybe 1, if not 2 more Manjaniques. Looks like Corvinus is at least aware of that threat, though. Springald comes out. Kind of dicey, though. I mean, these horsemen can just wrap past the Sofas to get to the Springald. So likely you're going to have to hold those Donzos back in a tight formation around the siege. Wall's going up. M-Lord has got some stone gathering going on, so it looks like he's going for a keep play. Marching towards the pit mine. Corv hasn't pulled back yet. Archer's getting range. Villagers will be sniped. 2 go down, and the main clash comes in the choke points. Marinelord moves in for a wallop. 1 Springald here to counter. We'll be able to back it away. Dervishes try to heal up a little bit here, but the front line is not holding for long. Marinelord has to peel it back further. Archer's trading out here. Maybe melee units left here, right? Like, the camels are going to have to back away. They are desert raiders, so they fare very well up against the Sofas. And right now, the javelins aren't taking them down. Finally, a recalibration here. And a good fight coming in, but Corv needs to keep this pressure on. M-Lord is going to back it up. Manjanique does stay alive. All of his melee army is dead, though. A good time for Corvinus to get in. This run placement is proving annoying, though. Finally, going to start being torched down. Meanwhile, 1 or 2 horsemen are still on the backside trying to be a nuisance, but Corvinus not overreacting to this right now. However, this is probably the most powerful Corvinus is going to be, folks. He is up against a whopping 27 eco lead from Marinelord. He needs to end this game now. It's a good start, but he needs a good follow-up. M-Lord. 1 Mangonel versus 2 Springles. An immediate loss coming in for him there. Has to back away. Just about keeps the Manjanique in one piece. But Corvinus has to be swelling up with confidence now. He just needs to find a way of breaking this base. Springle does get the snipe out. Archer's now trading out against this. Spearmen are coming out as well. And I mean, it looked good, but Corvinus, yeah, there it is. You got that second wave in immediately here. Wasted time on the berries instead of diving into the base. Finally recommits. M-Lord starts stepping back here. Reinforcements are on his side. Sofa count is getting low as well. Remember what he highlighted. Corvinus cannot afford to reboom these quickly. Only 4 a minute at this scale of economy. Diving the TC in the outpost may be too costly. Corvinus all of a sudden losing military lead, and this is the turning point right now. Corvinus with 2.4k wood. His resources are in the wrong location. Oh my god, no, not like this. Not like this. M-Lord, after being pushed back up against the wall here, after Corvinus claws this one back, all of a sudden it may come down to a lack of food to keep the momentum going. Crossbows coming out to finish off the last of Sofa. And Corvinus forced to leave the base. Finally puts the wood to work, but far too late here. 4 Mangonels have been queued up. The timing could not be worse. This is the point where you need more Sofas coming, because look at what Marinelord is doing. Mass farm setup. He's getting desperate for food. Corvinus, he's been desperate for food for the last 20 minutes. I think this might now be slipping. That wasn't enough damage. Like, Marinelord, he was on the ropes. I don't know if Corvinus knew how bad that was for M-Lord. Running out of food, needed a farm transition. He had a 20 eco lead, and you had the ability to shrink it. Instead, at the tail end of that fight, Marinelord is now up by 30 villages. Military force twice the size, and you can't help but wonder if Corvinus had just rushed out the siege workshops in the center here. If he had a mango or 2 coming after that, how good this could have been. But the overzealous dive into the primary cost him dearly, and now Marinelord in cruise mode on his way to a win. Because with this lead, I don't see how you throw it. Well, if nothing else, you have to shake Corvinus' hand here, right? In the playoffs of the $1,250 tournament, nothing but off-meta builds, right? Game 1. What was it we had there? I'm trying to remember now, folks. Sorry, Game 2 gravitated my attention too much with the Japanese Sohai Sutra build. Game 3 with the Farimba Malian build, unorthodox as well. Just all around non-meta bangers from Corvinus. Unfortunately, he's going to be the one banging his head at the end of this now. Marinelord, just too formulaic and just too straightforward for him. Military advantage could easily be 2-1 at this pace with this amount of eco. Oh, that's right. Game 1 was the system of the first till. That one I had to bleach from my brain. Full non-meta. Bangers is wrong. Yeah, it's explosions. Implosions, actually. Horseman Raiders tickling in again. Just keeping Corvinus on the defensive as Marinelord gets ready to make his push. Military Academy is being prepped. What golden age are we at here? Up to age 4. So here's the funny thing about Ayyubids, folks. With age 4, you almost have the Imperial landmark effect of the Rus, right? With the discount on high armory. Your siege costs 20% less resources. He already has the better production rate. I just don't see how Corvinus rebooms quick enough for Farimba here. Like, the Farimba is the only thing that he can really afford to keep pumping his infantry, and guaranteed, both sides are going to lose a lot of military here, but only one side can afford the boom into spear and archers. Here we go, clash comes in. Corvinus trying to hold on. Spirals getting the trade outs though. 1 mango, but plenty of Spirals from Marinelord to keep the siege at bay. Start step back now. Sofas are going to get the freebie on the Springald. Marinelord will look to re-engage the spears now. Brace comes in. The Sofas get baited forward here. Ram's trying to lead the charge, but I mean, I just don't see this breaking the base. M-Lord easily able to maintain close to 200 pop. Meanwhile, Corvinus down at 144. And this was what was missing, right? Like, if this siege was here, either Mangoes or Rams, this would have been the thing that could have ended the game. But Marinelord understands now it's too late for that. It's just a matter of wearing his opponent down. Siege Workshop's being added in to guarantee and get the Springles in. Horseman will wrap around under the anti-siege, and that's going to be a worthwhile trade. Getting rid of 2 there. Mass Archers, Mass Spears against what's left here. And you can see Corvinus is getting desperate. He's massing Warrior Scouts here against Phalanx Spears. I mean, this is just over. M-Lord, the raw eco power knows no end here. Over double the food income in a situation where that's the only way Corvinus can win. Mangoes are at least making it look close, but with the front line gone and the back line unable to defend for long, this game is over. Imperial Age is there. That'll be GG. Corvinus is like, wait, you were teching up as well? Get me out. 3-0 for the Giga Chad that is Marinelord himself. Corvinus, he at least has the excuse of being non-meta.